Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. here. Today we have the Auto Enthusiast out here taking the Super Duty for the first time for a drive. And so this is his first time in this exact truck, but he has driven Kong. He drove the 22 Ford Super Duty with the Godzilla and a 355 in it. So I always like getting people out here that have had a lot of vehicles in their history, love vehicles, and also he currently drives a high-end Lincoln vehicle. So sometimes when trucks are trying to put on a lipstick on a pig, you know, we want to know, is it really kind of as luxury as, say, what he's driving? So back again to give you his input on what he thinks of the 24 Ford Super Duty Loki. Here we go. You're talking a lot about how the configuration when it comes to utility, they put the bed steps in, they put the tie downs in the right place.
They did. You know, the way that it's configured on the front end, the way that it's configured through the body of the truck all the way to the back end. It's just a well put together vehicle.
And then once you had an opportunity to kind of look under the hood, around the truck, what do you think of the inside?
Well, you can barely see under the hood when the hood's up because this is such a tall vehicle. But I noticed that the engine, the way they mounted the engine, it's more to the cab, big time in the cab area, probably gives it a better center of gravity, really. And it's real well put together, and hell, you could put a lot bigger engine in if you had to at some point in time.
Yeah, who would want that Babyzilla under the hood of this? Actually, it's just a little bit smaller, but yeah, you put a Power Stroke in there, no room under the hood. So,
but I tell you, from a driving experience, this, a little bit of tire noise because of the more aggressive tires from the Tremor trim, but with the way that it's beefed up on the suspension, and it's got the 2-inch lift all the way around, it's the kind of tire you have to have for this particular car,
and
truck.
Right, and with those big of tires, what do you think of the running boards?
Well, you got to get a running start to be able to get into the cab itself, because it's, they set up probably about 20 inches off the ground. So even with the running board, individuals that are not tall are going to have challenges getting into this vehicle. Thank God for the well put together grab bars, because you're going to need them to get into this vehicle.
Yeah, it is very, very tall, guys. I made comments on that before when it comes to the use of the Raptor boards on the Super Duty Tremor. They look nice. I'm sure they have a great function, but hip problems, shorter people, yeah, problems getting in. So now that you've had a chance to kind of drive around, what do you think of the interior tech and everything like that?
I tell you, Ford has done a real good job, especially the heads-up display. I mean, I have the heads-up display in my Lincoln. I'm seeing more and more Fords come out with the heads-up display. Once you have it, it's hard to get into a vehicle that doesn't have it. And the information that it provides, really, there's no need, other than a short glance at the center console. Everything is on the screen for you to be able to do whatever you need to do. The cruise control setting, the lane keep assist, just brilliantly right in front of you at all times. It's really nice.
And what did you think when we could flip over to tow haul mode and the off-road mode, what it does to the gauge and the heads-up display?
The amount of information that they're able to put in pertinent information for the different configurations of the driving elements that you'll be doing, the way they've tied that into the heads-up display, again, you're not having to glance around to see what's going on. The information's right in front of your eyes. It's the way to go.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. When it comes to, you had a chance, when you're talking about the heads-up display and the cruise and lane keep assist, you had a little bit of a chance to kind of fill out the lane keep assist in the truck, and what's your thought on that?
It does a real good job in the truck's mind of keeping you within the lane. And if you try to correct it to get even a little bit over to one side or the other, this system will absolutely take over and say, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'll keep you where you are. It puts it into a pretty tough mode that the truck decides where you sit in the lane, not you.
Yeah. And we'll touch on that later, guys, when we talk about the Ford Copilot 360 that comes on the Lariat Ultimate package, and kind of those systems, how they all work. But yeah, very aggressive response mode on doing that. So really, if you're going to be using the lane keep assist, I would personally recommend using it on highways, not on back rural access roads or anything like that. Shut that part of the adaptive cruise system off. Other than that, what do you think of the overall fit and finish of the interior?
They've done a very good job. I've seen other... Boy, you got to be careful with the brakes. This particular vehicle really has very sensitive brakes, so you got to really pay attention. But the fit and finish is awesome. One thing I did notice, and it might be just the angle of the sun right now, even on the windshield, the heads-up display, on the bezel of the heads-up display, you can see a reflection from that shiny plastic up on the windshield. It'd be nice if they, heck, if they even darken that out, put a black, bezel around that to shield that feedback you're getting from the sun. The reflection is pretty intense.
Yeah, and if you guys remember my 23 Super Duty I ordered that I turned down, that they did change a little bit from 24 to 23 because that one had the heads-up display. That one was so bright of a reflection in the window, it was making me nauseous. So I turned down that one. I do feel that they changed it a smidge, but yeah, there still is a very visible bezel reflection on the.
Yeah, and once you change positions, it does go away. It turns green. But it's there. I mean, it's something. And again, it's all sun angle position. Now that we're due, the truck right now is pointed specific due west. It's gone. So it really is just a reflection directly from the sun itself.
Right on, right on. So he likes the fit and finish. We've talked about a lot of things like that. Here in just a few seconds, we are going to get on it, if you will, to kind of see the response. How do you think the feeling of the transmission just in standard driving is? Not necessarily getting on it, not necessarily trying to get it up to speed. We'll do that in a minute. But I mean, what's your impression over the 22 that had the 355 gearing in it?
Due to the gearing of this particular vehicle, it's a little bit different. You've got a whole different approach on how you want to accelerate the vehicle. There's a reason that the miles per gallon is, definitely different in this vehicle compared to the other, just because the gearing is, so much lower. It's that 433 is definitely something that needs. You've got to watch your accelerator and how you're actually feathering the gas pedal, because it does not respond like a good highway cruiser.
No, a lot of noise. It definitely wraps through those first 6 gears pretty quick. You're pushing on, the engine has a good note to it, but it sounds like it's moving, and you look down, you're still only going 40.
and to be honest, now that we're getting towards speed, I'm going 64 to 75. Now it feels very much like a truck. It drives in town. It drives really nice and car-like in many ways. Now that we're on the highway and we're hitting the gas a little bit, now it's driving like a truck.
All right, guys, so we just got off the highway. He had an opportunity to kind of check out the overall responsiveness of the throttle and everything like that. Now we're kind of back in town. We're kind of going to get his final thoughts, and then just like we did with the last one, we got to do kind of a little rip to see the throttle response over the old one with the 355s on it. So what of the actual highway drivability, the pickup, the go, everything like that, now we're back in the city.
I mean, once you get up to speed, like I was saying, it drives like a truck at that point. Totally amazed at the way that the transmission goes through the gears really very quickly. I don't know if that's compensating for the gear ratio, but lo and behold, you're putting on the throttle and it's just wham, 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 one gear after another. But you're remaining around 1,200, 1,500 RPM. It doesn't vary hardly at all when you're in the drive mode. But man, it goes through the gears quick.
Yeah, it almost shotguns them. It touches every gear. This torque shift does not do skip shifting like the half ton, so it literally hits every gear, and you can feel every shift from a flat response. We'll kind of zoom in here when he gets around the corner, and if you can see the gear range over there, the 1 through 10, the orange one is the gear it's currently in. And we'll put over here.
I mean,
get a better angle.
Our idle is 500 RPM. Again, smooth as silk. And then we'll get on it to do this turn, and I picked up 1/10 of a mile per gallon for you.
I appreciate that, because fuel economy is lower than what I was hoping for, but kind of what I expected. So let's watch these gears. So you kind of see how fast it went through there. Obviously we're going around a turn, so we couldn't see, but the first 6 it cruises right through and tries to get you into that 10th gear as quick as it can. Even at 45 and lower, it's trying to get up to 10th gear.
At 10th gear, 1,000 RPM.
Which is kind of crazy, because we were talking about gear temps and everything like that, and if you guys can recall, the Chevy, the transmission temp typically stayed under 200. This one is already at 206. We're not towing. We haven't done anything crazy. Haven't done the pedal mash. So I'd be interested to see how hot this gets towing in 90-degree heat here in a week. It does tend to stay a little bit warmer, and maybe it's because the transmission's so busy getting through all those gears. I'm not for sure.
Makes you wonder if when they put this together, did they put the right radiator for the size of the vehicle and the gearing? Is the radiator undersized for the particular weight of this vehicle with that gearing and the transmission? It's got to be a question.
Yeah, and a transmission cooler. And I know a lot of guys commented last time when I was comparing Kong to the General, and how the temperatures were so much different. And everybody's like, well, that's probably how they built it, was to be within that parameter. But obviously we know heat destroys everything. So it will be interesting to see, was it the radiator, was it the transmission cooler, or are they just made to run this hot?
That's a good point. With everything under the hood being plastic, minus the block itself, it's you've got to question some of those things. Is it the right choice to do all that plastic?
Yeah, there are a lot of outside components to the engine and stuff that are made out of a plastic or composite or whatnot. And a lot of manufacturers are going to that, and that works in some certain circumstances. When you have a truck that's not necessarily towing or doing the work, that works fine. But I think we're gonna generate some heat this next weekend. So we got about 600 miles of constant towing, 2 different trailers. So that we're gonna put it to the test here. So we're gonna work our way over, guys, to the Monster Mash area, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so we are back in the Monster Mash area. Again, this truck is not as responsive, but nobody's out. Let's see what happens.
I love that freaking V8.
Yeah, the V8 definitely sounds good. Now,
I matched it. We were going 42 miles an hour.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going much faster.
It sounds like we were going 150 and it was 40.
Yeah, definitely a big difference over the 22. And again, guys, that is going to be a lot to do with you get the same torque shift period if you get the gasser, unless you go Babyzilla, you get a different one. But this is where gearing is really going to play into fuel economy, responsiveness. So if you're not rock climbing, you're not towing over 20, the 373 locker really is the sweet spot. If you don't even tow that much, go 355, get better fuel economy, and get that Corvette feel. Because the last time you punched it,
it threw you back.
It threw you back.
This one didn't throw you back.
No, this one makes you feel like you're driving a snail in peanut butter.
It sounds like it's going just breakneck speed, and no.
Yeah. So all in all, after your time in the Ford Super Duty, and you've driven the 22, we're gonna push that one to the back. But you drove the 24 Chevy, and then you drove the Ram diesel. Would you buy this truck today if you're in the market for a heavy duty truck?
If you were with the intent to do what you're gonna do with it, as far as pulling, 100% yes. You know, if you're gonna be a individual like myself that wouldn't tow, but likes the size of the vehicle and the way that it functions and operates, I wouldn't necessarily say yes to that.
Okay, so you'd be talking about a different Super Duty, different gearing ratio and everything like that, as a potential.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just not the from a truck guy who's had a lot of trucks. It's built for one purpose, and it's purpose built to do exactly what it's intended to do. So if you're going to be somebody that's going to be pulling large trailers behind, yes, it's definitely the way to go.
All right. Car Enthusiast, I guess the version and what he believes, and after he's driven it, what he feels, which is just really kind of nice because it puts it in different perspective as to, is the 430 Tremor Super Duty something that somebody should just buy because they like the looks of it or whatever. This is a very specific trim, so you may not be interested in it, and you can kind of see the response from the last time. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.